Howdy, folks. I'm Smart Arctic Shrew, shrewdly saving surplus snacks.
I'm Amber.
And these are the surplus snacks that we've stolen from the squirrels. Let's get started. All right, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling the Police? So I'm an insurance salesperson, and we have a bullpen type office, and we cold call our leads. So my coworker who sits next to me calls this lead, has a little conversation, and then hangs up and starts laughing like crazy. I asked what's so funny, and she said that the lady was whispering and saying that she's hiding in a closet from her husband because he's trying to shoot her, and that was the craziest way that she's ever heard of someone trying to get out of a sales call. I immediately told her, not rudely, that it wasn't funny, and how did she know it wasn't real? The coworker told me, then why didn't she just call 911? And I believe that you can set a cell phone to receive calls but not be able to call out. I don't know how that works for 911 though. So I had another coworker call her, and the lady was in tears saying that she really needed help and to please call somebody. That coworker hung up and said that it's BS and that she doesn't want to get involved or think about it. Well, I thought of the bystander effect, and I used to be a first responder myself. So I called the police out where the lady lives. Given that we were in insurance, the leads have their telephone numbers and their addresses. Dispatch said that I did the right thing, and I figured that if she was messing with us, then she'll learn a valuable lesson. However, my coworkers are telling me that I'm being ridiculous and that she obviously was lying. I also sent the attached text and got no response. And definitely called before 5 minutes. What would you guys have done? Am I being ridiculous for calling it in? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. If someone says that they need help, then the right course of action is to help them. If this person is faking it to get off of a insurance call list,
Yeah.
then they'll deal with the consequences when the police show up. The
Yeah.
police will scold them for a fake emergency, and they'll know not to do it again. But that's much better than the chance that they really do need help, no one helps them, and they end up not making it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a pretty clean cut situation. I disagree with the coworkers. I think that OP did the right thing. You have no way of knowing why this person isn't calling the police, right? Now, as for whether or not a cell phone can get locked to the point where it can only receive calls and not send calls, I believe that even if you have a phone locked like that, you can still make emergency calls in general. So I wouldn't expect this to actually have resulted in, I don't think that she would have been in this situation if she could use that phone. So,
Well, some people, if they know their phone can't call out, if they've tried calling family members and stuff, they might not even think, though, that they could get through to 911.
yeah, and maybe that's the case. Maybe she just didn't realize that she could get to 911. But I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry, and I think that OP made the right call. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And no article 2436 says, based on the backstory, you did the right thing. Without the backstory and based only on the text, you had no reason to call. And OP replies, can you explain why not based on just the text? I'm genuinely asking just to clarify, because when it's typing instead of spoken word, people think that I'm being rude. And Electronic Elk 4404 says, why did you have another coworker call her back and not call yourself to gauge if she sounded like she was joking or not? I would assume that you would call back since you were worried. And OP replies, I was on a call with another client and kept putting my client on mute when they would talk. I would get fired if I just hung up for any reason. We can't hang up until the customer says no or hangs up on us. I cared about the lady, but I still also have a 7-year-old to feed. And WJAF says, definitely going to need an update on this one. And OP replies, if I hear anything, then I'll let everyone know. As far as I know, they won't call me and tell me anything, but another lovely commenter here said that in a few days I may be able to check the county website or something like that, because some of them post their arrests and incidents. So we shall see. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Ripping into My Daughter's Teacher After I Found Out That He Read Her Diary? I was debating posting on here, but some of my other mom friends have told me that I shouldn't have ripped into the teacher as he was just doing his job. I think that they're being biased, so I've come to the best third party that I know. I'm a 45-year-old female, and I have a daughter, a 13-year-old female, who is going through a tough time at school. I don't want to share too many of her private life details on here, but recently she had a disagreement with her best friends about whether or not they should be friends with another girl, and has since been excommunicated. As someone who was once a teenage girl herself, it's just an undeniable fact that this is just part of teenage female friendships. And I'm glad that my daughter stood up for this other girl, even if it cost her a group of friends. She became more reserved because of this, and to make sure that she's not bottling anything up, I got her a diary, telling her to write out all the bad feelings to help her figure out how she's going to proceed. She's loved the diary a lot and has been writing in it multiple times a day. And of course, I do not check what she writes in it as it's her personal property. Now, onto the problem. Yesterday, she accidentally left her bag behind at school. I need to stress that the diary was not left on the table, it was left in her bag under the chair. Her teacher, mid-30s, has her for registration and PSHE, and is the first point of contact for pastoral care. And my friend, who defended him, said that he probably just wanted to know her situation better to be a better teacher. The thing is this, I actually do not care about him. I care about my daughter, who he took out of registration in the morning to lecture her not only about leaving her bag behind, but also about the rude words that she used in her diary. Yes, you're reading that right. He read her diary and then proceeded to criticize her use of rude words. Now, I want to be clear, I don't encourage my daughter to use rude words, but if she chooses to do so in her own diary, I can't stop her, nor should I. And that is me as her mother, so imagine how inappropriate it is as for a teacher. Well, she comes home crying today because of this telling off, and I rang the school right away and demanded to speak to him. After confirming the situation, tearing him a new one, and then proverbially shoving it where the sun don't shine, I tell him that I will be removing my daughter from his class and telling the principal. I then rung one of my friends to vent to her about the situation, and to my absolute shock, she criticized me for treating a young teacher so poorly, that he was probably still learning about what he was allowed to do, and that I should be grateful that he took the time to treat my daughter specially. And I think that if it was her child, though, that she would be singing a much different tune. But perhaps I'm being incredibly biased, and I'm just so angry at the moment. So Reddit, am I the jerk for ripping into my daughter's teacher after I heard that he read my daughter's diary and then proceeded to criticize her use of rude words? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. Opie, I think you handled this really well. Told him this is inappropriate, said you're going to remove the daughter from her class and you're going to report it to the principal. What he did is not only like an invasion of privacy, but the way he like tore into her, it like made it clear that someone invaded her privacy, and then on top of that also makes her not feel safe inside this journal.
Yep.
This is a very important, like, journals can be a great therapy tool for people, but only when you feel like you can write in them open and honestly.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he invaded her privacy, and he also invaded a place of safety, right? A place of comfort. And I think that is going to take her a long time to kind of get over that betrayal. She's certainly going to be more careful about where she leaves her journal from now on, I would imagine. But what do you think about the friend's argument that he's still young and doesn't know better?
I would think that,
he's in his 30s,
well,
mind you.
Not only is he in his 30s, but I feel like that's something you learn as a teenager. Like, I don't know, I had diaries as a kid, and you don't read your siblings' diaries.
Yeah.
And you're taught from an early age, it's kind of a sacred space. Even therapists will generally not read the journals without the patient's consent. A lot of times, they may give you a journal for therapy and ask you to talk about it, but you still have control over what you share.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it. It's like, this was a place where he was uninvited and he was sticking his nose in the daughter's business. Now, how creepy do you think this is?
I think it's very inappropriate.
Like, do you think he's creeping on the daughter, trying to find something about her, or was this just him, like, what's his motivation here?
My guess would just be nosiness, but, I've been a teacher before. I've had students leave things behind, and I just look and see whose name it is, and then I give it back to them.
See, the problem I have with this is that what is a 30-year-old man doing reading a young girl's diary, right? And this wasn't just like he glanced at it and was like, whatever, right? This was, he took the time to actually sit down, read through these pages, and then knew enough from reading in them that she was using rude words.
Well, I'm wondering if she wrote something about him in there that he found unflattering.
Or if he was searching for something in there about that. That's why I kind of feel like this is just beyond like normal. I think there's a creepy element here that I'm very uncomfortable with.
There could very well be. I mean, I was just giving the benefit of the doubt because like I'm a naturally curious person, and I'd be like, have to be like, nope, we don't do that. Like, I have not invaded people's privacies, generally speaking. You know, I've never read a student's stuff. I never had a student leave a journal behind. Usually it's just like their course notebooks, but
Yeah.
still don't read it because it's not mine to read.
Yeah. Well, and it could just be a curiosity thing. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Business Conflict 26 says, not the jerk in any sense of the word. Follow through with what you said that you would do. New teacher or not, you do not go through a bag and just read a book that isn't yours. Especially since I'm fairly certain it was quite obvious whose book it was. And OP replies, yes, she has a very distinctive bag, bright colors so it doesn't get lost, and the diary that I got for her even has a sticker on the front where she's written her name. There's no doubt everything that he did was intentional. Only question is how malicious it was. I mean, that right there tells me a lot, right? There was a sticker that said her name on it. Like, that's all he needed to know.
Right.
But he insisted on looking further. And Tomatillo, okay, 8896 says, not the jerk. I work with children, and I would never ever consider reading a student's diary or journal. Past that, to criticize her based on her private thoughts, that is wildly unprofessional and completely unacceptable, not to mention a complete overstep of boundaries. He is a teacher, not a therapist or a mental health professional. He had no right whatsoever to behave the way that he did. Bring this up to the administration and pull her from that class. And OP replies, I will draft an email to the administration now. Unfortunately, I believe that he is quite popular with a lot of the parents. My husband thinks it's because he's handsome, but I have not met him yet. So I might just be a social pariah, but at least he won't be able to cross this boundary without consequences again. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not hiding tampon trash at work? I started my period earlier today while I was at work. No big deal. I put the tampon in the trash and I threw the wrapper out and the applicator into the mostly empty medium-sized trash can with no lid without thinking twice about it. Then I just got back to my job. 2 hours later, the only other woman on this floor came into my office and told me that I had left the tampon wrapper and applicator out in the open and that anyone could see it. She also said that I need to be more discreet because it's a mixed bathroom. I immediately thought that her comment was rude, but a friend pointed out that she might have thought that she was helping me out by letting me know. Still, I don't think that there's any need to hide perfectly normal trash. If it were an actual used tampon, I would wrap it up for sanitary and smell reasons, but this was just a small plastic bit in the trash can. I grew up in a house full of sisters, and my fiance is very chill about menstruation. I've heard of men being weird about periods, but I've never personally experienced it. Another friend suggested that I go to HR to make a statement and verify what's expected, but I feel like that's just over the top. I'm more inclined just to fume about it for the rest of the day and then move on without changing how I throw things away. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, I understand people don't want to see blood, so I can understand wrapping something bloody in toilet paper, but a plastic applicator, you know, like just... people can handle the sight of plastic. If they can't, they shouldn't be in an office environment with other people.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that this is one of the situations where whether she was well-meaning or not, she was still being rude, right? And OP didn't do anything that was untoward. And it's not like she built like a flagpole out of her tampon and then like, you know, wrote on the flag with blood or something like that, right? Maybe that would be a little bit of a different situation. Maybe that would warrant a discussion. But as it stands, this was just trash in the trash can.
Yeah, well, it's trash mixed in with all the other trash.
I mean, what did she want OP to do? Like reach into the trash can and cover up it with the other trash that's
or
sitting
like
in there?
use all the an entire roll of toilet paper to hide it.
Yeah. I just think that the expectation here is a little weird. Who's looking through the trash at work? Like,
well, if someone
clearly she is.
if
right?
someone is looking through the trash at work, then like that's maybe another HR issue.
Yeah. I don't think that OP needs to bring this up to HR quite yet.
No.
But it might be a good idea to write this situation out and put it into a draft and just document it and say that way, because sometimes things can, time and memory and stuff like that can change how you perceive a situation. So it might just be good to have this documented on file. That way, if she does bring this up later, then OP has like a running paper trail or something like that, right? Maybe even email her about the conversation, and just that way there's like a paper trail, right? That's the best that I can suggest for OP right now if they don't want to escalate this to HR.
Which I don't think is necessary at this point. She's just trying to push her outdated norms on OP.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Mildly inconvenienced.
I mean, I guess that kind of works. The coworker is being an inconvenient person.
Yeah. And Love Ad 9187 says, do you have a sanitary bin in the toilet that you can put them in? And OP replies, no, it's just like a regular bathroom, no stalls or anything like that. Sink and this medium kitchen trash can without a lid. And Malibu Cola says, not the jerk, you put the trash in the trash. You didn't leave it out in the open. What did she expect you to do? Stick your hand into the trash can and put other trash over it? You don't know what's in the trash can, nor should you find out. I agree.
Yeah.
And OP replies, I wish I had the forethought to ask what she meant exactly. How was I supposed to hide it? But I was still deep in the period brain fog and just trying to process what she was really saying about this trash. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why is it hard to train certain rodents?
It's hard to train certain rodents because it's very difficult to design mechs specifically for the rodents that you're trying to get to be trained into being like, your mech rodent droids type things. I mean, some don't take to the machines.
They can be quite squirrely.
Oh, it's the squirrel specifically.
Yeah, today is Squirrel Appreciation Day.
Ooh. Make sure to go find a squirrel and throw some nuts at them, but not like hard.
Yeah, maybe Chance will come by for a visit.
And I have Earl Grey.
We have a little squirrel friend in our neighborhood named Chance.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy terrific Tuesday, folks. I hope your Tuesday is off to a terrific start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it make some sense of the hodgepodge of stories that we've come up with.
Don't read someone's diary without their consent. If someone asks for you to call the police, that's probably a good idea. And don't pay so much attention to what other people are throwing in the trash.
Yeah, I think those are all great morals. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.